All right. This is my least favorite kind of closeout combo. Sadly, it is a defeated, the opposite of a victory Sunday. As you know, if you watched the video from last week, this Sunday to Tuesday, I was attempting to run around Lake St. Clair. I started this morning at about 6:30, and I got to the Gordie Howe Bridge south of Detroit at about 7:15. Unbeknownst to me, there is a window of time that it's open to pedestrians, the pedestrian bridge, and that window of time is 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So I had to wait 45 minutes as the sun rose a little further and the humidity, shifted throughout the air even more. And once I even got on the bridge, I couldn't even see the skyline of Detroit because the air was just so wet. So that, speaking of that, obviously, I only made it 26 miles, and I say only, but of course, it's all perspective. 26 miles, still really far. And on our way driving back, my mom and I realized just how far I'd gone because it took us like 45, maybe not 45, but a half hour to get back to Detroit. Or get back to the bridge. So it did take me, or I did run a ways, but obviously not even really close to the ultimate goal. And I would like to blame the weather for a lot of it, because it was one of the most oppressive weather, whatever you want to call it, weather runs that I've done this summer. I would have almost rather had, it was probably 80 and really humid, but I would have almost rather had 85 and just straight sun, but no humidity. Sorry. But anyway, by 22, I was having to walk for parts. And that was honestly the first, I kind of thought about it earlier, but I was like, just keep going. Like, you'll get food, you'll get water, you can stop a few times. Maybe the clouds will roll in. But that didn't really happen until after I stopped. And shout out to my mom real quick before I forget, because Rosalowski was supposed to crew for me, but he got stung by an insect yesterday. And it was probably a bee or a wasp. But he had to be, he had an allergic reaction. And so he was out for the count. He took the day off. I don't blame him, too, because he was in rough shape. I'll just say that. And so my mom helped me out, and Wea, of course. But they were doing the leapfrog thing, and then I think she sort of recognized, it is ridiculously hot out. And so she started to do smaller segments in between. And of course, she's a mom, so she's going to be worried about me. But yeah, I was a little bit disappointed in myself. I felt like, obviously I was monitoring the weather all week, because this was planned for a while. And I was, just checking. And I see, of course, that it's going to be ridiculously humid. But I think maybe, I'll have adjusted to it a little bit. But this was the worst day, I think, because this August has been really weird, where it's been cloudy and humid for what feels like every day, with some parts of sun in there. But yeah, didn't really love my attitude going in. It was almost like I went in waiting for something to go wrong and not doing what I normally do, which is making stuff go right. And yeah, I just felt like I wasn't in a great spot mentally, not because of anything in my personal life or anything, just with this challenge specifically, it just felt really daunting. And, it's tough to accept that. But I already have a plan to do it in either September or November. It's just going to depend on what I decide, my work schedule. But either late September or mid-November is kind of the idea. And yeah, I still have 8.3 miles to go. I got to 26. I was at basically 60 headed into today. And then I took a giant nap. And then at about 6 p.m. I did just under 6 miles. And so now I still have 8.3 to go. So, and I'm probably going to do that at around 10 p.m. Obviously, I'm not feeling great, but one weird thing on my 6-mile run, my legs still feel pretty fresh because they were very fresh headed into this. Probably the freshest they've ever been. Well, not ever, but like since I started the 100-mile week streak, I would say. Because I only did 21 from Thursday to Saturday. And that is, well, it's probably more like 22, 23. But you get the idea. I was really fresh. My legs still feel fine. Like on that run, they felt fine. Which tells me, if the weather weren't like this and I didn't have this happen, I think we would have had a different story. But didn't happen that way. And yeah, hopefully in either September or November, I can get redemption. I am already preparing myself for that. And I think I'm going to go the opposite direction because the Gordie Howe Bridge being closed that early, combined with a couple more reasons why I feel like going the opposite direction would help. I think that's what we're going to do. And maybe I'll do a Saturday to Monday instead of a Sunday to Tuesday, because in September or November it's going to be hard to find a crew. But shout out to Matt, Shane, Bram, Robbie Oates for all being willing to help me out in, what starts to be the busy time of the year, going back to school for Shane and Bram at U of M in Rochester. And then Robbie's going to be, well, I don't want to say too much about their personal lives, but they're all busy. Everybody's busy, right? And so they basically set aside a day to help me out. They were all willing to. And so that means a lot to me. And yeah, hopefully I can find a crew, no problem next time. It'll probably be a similar crew, similar group of people. And yeah, we'll see how it goes next time. But a disappointing Sunday. I'm going to find a way to run this 8.3. Like I said, my legs feel fine. It's really just the humidity that's sucking the life out of me. So, hope if you ran today, you had a better time than I did. And yeah, I'll see you probably next week, maybe the week after.